What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to the world's worst fishing lure making TV. So we have quite a few things on the table today, and featured color of the day, I guess, is my gray gizzard shad. Uh-oh, too much glare. Yeah, lots of browns and silver and gold powders in that top. That's a dark watermelon. That's watermelon mixed with black. We've got sort of a gold vein, and then just a standard white pearl belly. Shad dots, of course, to make it look legit. Yeah, it's one of my favorite ones. I've been doing lots of custom orders lately, so that's what some of this stuff is over here. Sorry if the laundry's squeaking. So we have some tail poured sexy shad, looking good. Yeah, and then we have one of my favorites, blue cross shiner, in the 6-inch mold. Yeah, so this is a really exciting color because you get to use some of the new dead-on dead shifts and some of the morph pigments. So that's blue craw on the top mixed with 24 karat dead shift. The vein is 24 karat dead shift. You can see that gold vein in the middle, and then the bottom is snow shine. So lots of dead-on colors coming together there to make a really exciting color. And now for the fun part, I gotta do eyeballs. So many eyeballs, I don't even know what to do with them all. I feel like when I go to sleep at night, I just see lure eyeballs and Loctite gel in my dreams. It's getting bad over here. So this is an average day in the life of a soft plastic hand pourer. Got molds laid out, baits laid out, eyeballs waiting, beer, hot plate warming up. I have to pour shad dots on every single one of these bad boys in the 5-inchers. So wish me luck there. So yeah, just lots of stuff happening in this bait blog. And oh, I gotta show y'all and tell y'all about, the bait making competition that I have to help judge. So that's gonna be a task. It's gonna be super fun though. Shaken, not stirred. Okay, so some of you who are involved in the bait community probably know this already. Some who maybe just watch my channel but don't make baits themselves yet, or do not follow some of the bait pages, you may not know there's a big bait making competition going on, sponsored by AI Molds, and I myself am one of the judges. So there's like 3 judges technically. Myself, Richard Ray from Raw Baits, one of the top talents in the world, and then the guys at AI themselves. It's called King of the Hook, and man, there's been some cool stuff, so I'm going to give you a little snapshot. Yeah, check this out. Here's one on the injection side. Of particular note, these are some of the AI tubes, right? We actually made some tubes in our last video. But you can see a lovely black crappie color match. You know, they've got the gold and the green and then the splotch, and really ingenious what they did here. They basically approached the tube like a swim bait with a clear dip. So they injected a laminate of the green pearl and the yellow pearl, clear dipped right over the tube with these black flakes to get the, you know, random black speckled look, and then cut the tails. Absolutely killer stuff. So, you know, this is the level of creativity and color building that is being brought to the contest. Yeah, really cool. So over on the hand pouring side of things, here's an entry, right? So we have some really great stuff here. We have basically a capsuled swim bait with some brushed pearls. You know, we have sort of a blue pearl and a violet purple pearl. I'm not sure if they're highlights or if they're just straight colors. And, you know, we've got some sort of either, they don't look poured, maybe painted or Sharpie marker kill dots there. Looking really great. Yeah, so this one's really great. So this is the AI jerkbait mold, the hand-poured jerkbait mold, that this dude put some whiskers on and actually cut out portions of the belly. And looks like maybe even frayed up the tail to look like a shrimp, you know. That's and put some shrimp eyes on it of some kind. So yeah, really great stuff happening here. Yeah, these are really nice. So these are, you know, probably 7, maybe even 8 color layered bluegill. You know, we have the vertical barring here. You know, patterns like this can also double as a perch. This could be like a rainbow perch or something that doesn't exist. But, you know, excellent color placement. You know, the color building is really great. None of the colors are, I guess, overpowering. They're not oversaturated. They're all faded and blended very nicely. You know, he painted a really pretty picture in this mold, and it's executed properly. You know, I'm not seeing cold cracks or, you know, any structural issues with the bait. Well, what do we have here? Happy Jack did a full detail and ceramic coat on the bass boat. She's looking mighty pretty. Brand new trailer tires. I think I'm gonna offer to pay him like in a bag of flukes. So the first thing you do when you get your bass boat back from being detailed by the master is you size watches with a bottle of vodka. We got to take some links out of this pro diver. All right, everybody, welcome back to the actual fish cave where we actually do baits. So what we're gonna do today is gonna be a fun little experiment that I don't think I've actually really ever done this, much less have I ever done it on camera. And what we're gonna do is sort of a test to see which kind of mold, which orientation of cavities, and what kind of shape of cavities make the best swirls, right? In an injection setting. So in order to do a proper swirl, you're gonna need a dual injector, but you're gonna need to remove the top bar so that these can move independently, okay? Now I do have a whole video dedicated to the milking the cow technique, which is what we're gonna be using today. Okay, essentially we're gonna be taking the injector and 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, you know, back and forth, back and forth. This is where the drummer in me gets to come out. Right, left, right, left, right, left, right, you know, really fast, you know, and that's how you get that swirl that like you would see in wave worms, you know, those old Senkos or whatever they were. So it's a really fun, it's a really fun technique, and we're gonna see what type of mold swirls the best. Let's go find out. Okay, so we have a few things going on here, all right? In my experience, this sort of mold configuration swirls the best, where you have the runner on one side, all of the cavities going one direction, okay? However, this being a very complicated shape, you know, there's a lot of little legs and appendages, this is not necessarily the ideal candidate for that traditional beautiful candy cane swirl that you want to see. So I'm really curious to see how milking the cow works in the AI Stinger. However, I do think that it is the best mold cavity configuration. Let's contrast that with the ectocraw, okay? Right? Now the plastic is entering in from the top. It makes a sharp 90-degree turn, and then they're technically top-down ports, right? So let's again look at the difference. Very different orientation, okay? The plastic goes in from the top, goes straight down in one direction here, but the plastic has a much more complicated route to the cavities in the ectocraw, all right? So that's going to be an interesting one right there. All right, let's put the ecto back if I can find it. So in my experience, molds configured like this, okay, where the runner's in the middle and the plastic has to go in two different directions, do not swirl all that well. So I'm really curious about that. And that is the AI punch bug. So we'll see if we can swirl that. Here we have the new AI lizard, which again is oriented runner on this side. All the cavities go this way. And then because swirls are so common in a worm, we have the Magnum AR worm, which again is oriented, I think, favorably with all the cavities running this way. And it is a traditional straight worm, which traditionally swirls best. So out of these 5, we're going to see what happens. Let me know in the comments down below which one you think is going to swirl best. The stinger, the ectocraw, the AR worm, the lizard, or the punch bug. All right, we're going to do what I hope is going to be sort of a fun, swirly type of color, which might actually look pretty good. Who knows? Pink and brown, okay? I've done this in a laminate before, and now we're going to try it in a swirl. So one thing to remember when mixing up colors for a swirl, you need to have a lot of saturation. And you need to have a lot of saturation because when those colors are swirling together, they're going to thin out, right? But you still want to see the distinction of the two colors, or else your swirl gets lost, okay? So we don't want our swirl to get lost. So this is kind of how we're going to start. This is Neo Magenta right here. And then this is just regular old boring brown. No, brown is amazing. Brown goes in so much stuff that it shouldn't, but it does. It's like a universal helper color, just like black. Black goes with everything. So here we go. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do a little swirl test on the table, right? Where we're just going to drizzle them together and see if there's enough contrast, right? You can kind of tell down there. See if there's enough contrast to really see things. And I think we need more color. That's just me personally. We're going to just start dumping this stuff in. However, I do want to add some flake to the black side, just to have a little bit of flake texture going on. Just some small black, nothing crazy. Alright. And then I think I'll maybe add a smidge of violet highlight to the brown, just to give it another little, basically just to give us another chance of seeing it, right? Powder effects really show up well in a swirl, and it can add a whole new dimension to it. And I'm not just saying that to sound fancy. Okay, 3 drops of black, just to liven up that brown. Okay, so we're gonna go with that. See what happens here. Okay, here we go. We're zoomed way out. We're gonna run them fast because you got to do it fast. So here we go. Here we go. Basically, just want to go right, left, as fast as you can. Don't think that mold filled. That one did. We ran out of plastic on that last one. Okay, so I think there's 2 molds that I'll have to redo. The first one, I don't think I quite filled it all the way, and then we ran out on the stinger. All right, here we go. We're gonna redo those. Here we go. Okay, yeah, that felt much more solid. I was a little out of practice on that first run. All right, everybody, we're back. I don't have my drumstick, so there, fake drum roll. We're going to start with the mold that I think is going to do the worst, and that's the ecto crawl, because of that weird path that the plastic has to go, right? It goes kind of down, then to the side, and then down again. I just don't see how it's really going to swirl, you know, due to the pulsing, but we'll find out. This is ecto crawl, milking the cow. Okay, kind of interesting. Not really a swirl. Maybe on this one it is. Let's go ahead and get them out. Okay. Yeah, more of a laminate. It's almost like, see what I mean? Almost like a really great laminate too. We just made awesome laminates. Yeah, I just think the pathway for the plastic, it just, yeah, you can see it just didn't really mix a whole lot, which I kind of expected. Now, this is the greatest crawl mold ever made. This is not knocking this mold. I was just simply saying, yeah, I don't think it's going to swirl, you know, just based on mold cavity configuration. Now, there might be other different cavity configurations of the ecto crawl in different, you know, cavity counts. So, like if you have a 2 cavity, maybe it's a little bit different, you know. If they're going this way, right, and the runner's going this way, I think you're good. But for now, we'll definitely call that one not a swirl, which I kind of anticipated, but it's still good information to know, because just like laminating, not every mold is going to swirl based on its configuration the same way not every mold can laminate. Even just a simple 2-color laminate is not for every mold, okay? All right, so now here's the punch crawl, right? This one has the runner going down the center and the cavities going in both directions. So I feel like maybe one side is going to get a swirl better than the other. I don't know. Let's find out. Oh, they're all going this way. Okay, so a little bit more random swirl here. Let's look at the other side. Okay. So as we can see, we have these brown streaks, which are actually sort of angled like a swirl. Okay. Right. So if we rotate that, you'll see that kind of swirly effect. It's almost like I didn't quite get enough brown into this shot. But if we look down here, that's actually a really nice little swirl right there. Look at that. Yeah. Yeah, so the ones on the bottom seem to swirl better. And counter to what you might think, the bottom cavities receive the plastic first, okay? Right? So it's almost like the plastic comes in, it fills up in the bottom, it creates the pressures, it'll then fill these cavities. Usually it fills from bottom to top. And so you can see the further the plastic had to go up, the less it kept its swirl, I guess. It's almost like it got worse the further the plastic had to go. All right, so now we're going to look at the Stinger, which is really popular with the AI C-block. So I'm curious to see how Milking the Cow does. I expect it to be a lot like I had just C-blocked it because of the cavity shape, not necessarily the cavity orientation. Oh, okay, yeah, all right. So you can see sort of the swirls happening there. Let's look on the other side. Yeah. Not necessarily the candy cane swirl. There again, I'm a little out of practice at this kind of stuff. I haven't milked the cow in ages. And it's a shorter cavity. You know, a lot of people do this in Cincos and trick worms, where you have a longer, thinner cavity where you can just simply get more swirls. And, you know, I may have been pulsing too slowly. However, this one did a much more consistent job, as you can see. Still not great, but consistent. And that's because of the orientation. You have the runner this way, all the cavities going the other way. This one I'm really hoping turned out well. This is the lizard. Again, a tricky cavity in terms of the shape of the bait, but it's oriented correctly. So, yep, not good. I want to do that one again. Yep, nope, not good. Ugh, that's like a laminate. Ugh, fail. Next. Man, y'all deserve better. I should have done... That one should have looked really good. Now I'm worried about this one. Jeez, people. We will redo the lizard and potentially this one if this one sucks too. Because it might completely suck. I don't think it will, but it might. Yep, that sucks. No, actually, you can see a swirl. I clearly need to brighten up the pink. All right, trying again. Here we go. Alright, so here we have sort of a nice layout of pretty much everything we did today aside from the ecto crawls. So I've kind of selected the best of the Magnum AR worms. Those are the other two right there. They just didn't quite swirl as well. The latest round of lizards, you can actually see we did get the swirl effect in them. Not as many swirls as I wanted. I maybe, wanted a couple more, but you can see it throughout each one. So I actually really like the way that the lizard displays the swirl. I just am grossly out of practice, and there are probably many people who could do this better, but I kind of wanted to see which molds, the purpose of the video was kind of to see which molds seem to work for a swirl, which orientations work, which ones really kind of don't. And I think it's safe to say that the ecto crawl, just because of the mold orientation, I don't think is very swirl friendly. So that's just something to keep in mind when you see a cavity orientation like that. Maybe don't buy it in just to swirl it kind of thing. I was actually really happy with the way that the stingers came out. Again, I could some of this is probably operator error. I do a lot of open pouring now, and I'm just simply a bit out of practice on some of these older injection techniques. And like I said earlier, 1/2 of those did really well. That's actually really good swirling right there on the punch bug. So to me, that was a really surprising result, simply because of the cavity layout. I didn't think either side would really get the effect, but those turned out pretty good. And then the AR worms, aside from me just being out of practice, I still definitely think a swirl shows up better just in a long straight worm. I do think that it's just better. The plastic has a lesser path of resistance down the cavity to maintain that pulsing look, which is how you get the swirl. But you almost get a more fainter gradual swirl in the lizards, which to me looks really natural. To me, that actually is a much better looking bait than any of these that have a more, I guess, a more defined swirl. I'm going to pick that one all day, every day. So, I'm not, wild about today's color, but I wanted to pick something that would show the swirls, that wasn't just, black and white or something, I guess something like that. So, anyway, let me know in the comments down below which one you thought was going to work the best and what may have surprised you. All right, perfect timing to wrap this one up because we have some rain coming in, which is never good for making plastic. Sorry if I'm out of focus, y'all. But anyway, the biggest takeaway I would say from today's video is, number one, I need to practice my milking the cow. I need to practice my swirling, because I think I can definitely do better at it, and I've seen some people who just have the gift, man. Second thing is, I think almost any mold, even the ones that are split orientation, I think you can probably get almost any mold to swirl to a degree. But there definitely is a configuration and a cavity shape, longer, unobstructed, not a lot of tentacles or appendages. A simpler shape, I think, is definitely going to do better. And then I think there are some molds that just simply aren't going to do it. So like a top port injection, I don't think is going to do it. The way that ecto crawl, just the way that the cavities were kind of laid out there, and the runner, don't think you're going to get that one to do it. Maybe somebody's hit a lucky swirl in that one. If you have, send it to me. I'd love to see it. But, I definitely think it still rings true. Single side cavity orientation and the simpler shape like a worm, the better. So anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell if you want to see more experiments like this where we're just seeing what works and what doesn't. Let me know. We'll be happy to do it. Until then, we will see y'all in the next video, and yeah, hope everyone has or had a good Super Bowl weekend. I don't know when this video is going to come out, but the Super Bowl is this weekend, so I hope everyone has a good time. And I hate both teams.